The last thing I remembered before the darkness swallowed me was the blinding hospital lights and the muffled voices of doctors rushing around. I had collapsed at home, and by the time I opened my eyes again, days had passed. I was in a coma, trapped in silence, unable to move, unable to speak, but able to hear. I remember the sting of hearing my son's voice. At first, I thought he was there to comfort me. "Dad, this is too much. I can't handle this. I have my own life." His voice cracked, but instead of warmth, there was frustration, maybe even shame. Then, the sound of his footsteps grew faint as he left the room. The door clicked shut, and I was alone. Inside my still body, my heart broke. The boy I had raised, the one I sacrificed everything for, had chosen to walk away when I needed him most. The machines beeped steadily, but the room felt unbearably empty. Nurses came and went, adjusting tubes and checking charts, but no one stayed. Day after day, I lingered in that half-dream state, caught between life and death. I wanted to scream, to beg him not to leave me, but my body betrayed me. I couldn't move a single muscle. I was trapped in my own mind, abandoned by the one person I thought I could depend on. But then, something changed. One evening, as the shadow stretched long across the hospital floor, I heard the scrape of a chair being pulled closer to my bed. A presence settled beside me, not hurried, not clinical, but patient. I didn't know who it was, but I felt warmth, as though someone refused to let me be alone. And when my son finally returned, he wasn't ready for who he saw sitting there. Time blurred inside that sterile hospital room. The beeping machines and the shuffling footsteps of nurses became my only measure of life passing. But I was never alone anymore. Someone was always there. I couldn't see them, but I felt their presence. A soft hand would sometimes rest gently on mine. A calm voice hummed melodies I vaguely remembered from my childhood. Whoever it was, they sat faithfully, hour after hour, day after day. Then one afternoon, I heard the door creak open again. A hesitant voice broke the silence. It was my son. He muttered under his breath, I needed to check if you're still alive." His tone carried guilt, but also fear. The chair beside me scraped loudly as the visitor shifted. My son froze. I could almost imagine the shock on his face when he realized someone else was there. What are you doing here?" My son's voice cracked, full of disbelief. The answer came in a soft but steady voice. A voice I hadn't heard in years. "He shouldn't be alone. Not now, not ever." My son gasped. "You?" His voice rose, trembling with confusion. Silence stretched for a moment, heavy with years of unresolved pain. Then the visitor spoke again, calmer this time. "I don't care about the past right now. He needs someone, and I won't leave him." I wanted so badly to open my eyes, to see their faces, to understand what was happening. But all I could do was listen. My son muttered something under his breath, too low for me to catch. But I knew whoever was sitting beside me was the last person he expected to see. And maybe, just maybe, the one person he didn't want to face. My son's voice shook as he stood frozen by the bedside, staring at the visitor like he had seen a ghost. Why are you here?" he finally demanded. There was a mixture of anger, guilt, and disbelief in his tone. The visitor didn't flinch. "I told you he doesn't deserve to be alone. Not in this condition." The voice was calm, patient, but carried a quiet authority that made my son hesitate. "But I'm his son," my son protested, his words quivering. You should have been here before." The visitor interrupted gently, yet firmly. He needed you, and you walked away. That's why I'm here now. My son sank into a chair across the bed, silent for a moment, head in his hands. The weight of his guilt seemed unbearable. I could hear the uneven breaths, the shaking that betrayed just how conflicted he felt. I didn't know what to do, he whispered finally. I was scared. I didn't think I could handle it. The visitor leaned forward slightly, their voice softening. Being scared doesn't give you the right to abandon him. But it's not too late to make things right. Just start by being here now. My son looked up, tears brimming in his eyes, meeting the visitor's gaze. His anger faded, replaced by remorse and confusion. Slowly, he reached out toward my hand, though he didn't touch it yet, unsure of whether he was welcome. I wanted to open my eyes and reach for him, to reassure him that forgiveness was possible, but my body wouldn't cooperate. All I could do was listen and hope that this unexpected presence beside me could guide both of us back together. That day, my son realized something he hadn't expected. The person sitting beside me wasn't there to punish him, but to protect me no matter what. The room was quiet, except for the soft beeping of the machines. My son's chest heaved as he tried to steady his emotions. He couldn't believe what he was seeing or feeling. The visitor beside me remained calm, their presence steady, like a lighthouse guiding him through the storm of guilt and regret. I don't understand, my son whispered. I thought I could leave and come back later. I didn't think it mattered. His voice cracked, raw with shame. The visitor reached out and placed a reassuring hand gently on his shoulder. It always matters, they said softly. Even when you're scared, even when you make mistakes, he still needs you. You can't undo the past, but you can choose what you do next. Something in my son's posture shifted. He sank lower into the chair, finally allowing the weight of his emotions to settle. Tears streamed down his face, unrestrained. He whispered again, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to leave him alone." The visitor nodded, their eyes never leaving him. Actions speak louder than words. You're here now. That's what counts. For the first time in days, I felt a flicker of hope from inside my own mind. I couldn't open my eyes, but I could sense the tension easing, the room softening. My son's apology, the visitor's calm guidance, the sense of care surrounding me, it all combined into a fragile but undeniable sense of safety. Minutes felt like hours as he stayed there, talking softly, apologizing, promising he wouldn't leave again. The visitor quietly stood beside him, ensuring he understood the importance of his presence and the responsibility he had to me. And in that moment, my son realized that being present, truly present, was more powerful than any words could convey. Hours passed, yet my son didn't move. He sat by my bedside, holding my hand gently, talking softly, occasionally sobbing. The visitor remained beside him, silent but reassuring, their presence calm and steady. Finally, my son looked up at the visitor, his eyes filled with a mix of awe, confusion, and gratitude. I didn't know you'd come," he whispered. The visitor smiled softly, a knowing expression on their face. "I promised I would be here. No one should face this alone. Not you, not him," they said. My son's voice trembled. You've always been here?" "Yes," the visitor replied. "Even when you weren't. Even when you thought you were alone, someone cared enough to stay." It was then that the truth hit him. The visitor was my estranged sibling, the person my son had never met properly but who had silently watched over me for years. They had been the quiet guardian, unseen but present, making sure I was never truly alone, even in the darkest moments. My son's jaw dropped. I never realized. I'm so sorry. The visitor shook their head. You don't need to be sorry. What matters is what you do now. Though I couldn't open my eyes, I felt a deep sense of peace. My son, humbled and emotional, stayed beside me for the rest of the day, learning the true meaning of family, responsibility, and compassion. The visitor stayed close, silently ensuring that forgiveness, care, and love were restored. When I finally awoke, I saw my son's tear-streaked face and the comforting presence of my sibling beside him. In that moment, I realized that even in betrayal and abandonment, hope, love, and family could shine through. Sometimes the people we least expect to protect us are the ones who make all the difference. Thank you so much for watching this story till the end. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe even learned something from it. If you'd like to hear more stories like this, full of life lessons, drama, and emotions, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss an update. Your support means the world, and it helps me keep bringing you more inspiring and unforgettable stories. Stay tuned because more amazing stories are on the way.